Many of us know that the Detroit Mountain Project is well underway and well under construction, and heck, by this time next year, we'll be using the project, we'll be using the place, the facility, and most of its amenities. At least that's the hope, as long as construction still continues. And I think that for the majority of us, has been very supportive in the community about this project. I know it got off to a little bit of a rocky start when there was a lot of asking for public tax money to be compensating this site. But since then, the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Group has really stepped up and pretty much financed the whole project by itself. And that's part of what has made this project so special, is the fact that so much of it has come from community members and from volunteers and from people that just had the same inspiration and idea to get the project going. That's why I was very disturbed to see in the op-ed piece of the Detroit Lakes paper last week an article published, it just says, by the DL News staff that said, "Our opinion, Detroit Lakes should support the mountain." I think the city of Detroit Lakes and the community have been very supportive of the mountain project. So I had to read that article, of course. I had to know, what do they mean? What's coming up? Well, apparently $450,000 in financial support to the Detroit Mountain Project, taxpayer money from the city of Detroit Lakes, either in a combination from the liquor fund, from the public utilities fund, or general tax obligation dollars, whatever, it's your money, it's the city's money, is not enough and does not symbolize cooperation to some people in the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Group. They want an additional $550,000 for a paved parking lot at the Detroit Mountain site. Now, it's not bad enough that the Becker County Board of Commissioners passed a half-cent sales tax on everything that you pay taxes on now in Becker County in order to pay for increased road projects. Number one road project on that list is going to be redoing and paving Ottozek Road, which leads up to the mountain. Already more tax dollars being pushed into it. So why should the city of Detroit Lakes pay $550,000 for a paved parking lot? And this nearly $8 million project, that was not conceived by the designers? That was not thought about we should fundraise for that? And if the fundraising isn't already there, then why have we already broken ground, bought the mountain, and got everything going if it's not going to be the way we want it? Maybe instead of demanding another $550,000 from the city of Detroit Lakes, maybe instead you just delay that paved parking lot a couple years, fundraise for it, and get it built. The reason this project has so much influence behind it and so much inspiration behind it, really, I should say, is because it wasn't being paid for and subsidized by the city, by public dollars. Remember, they went to the Becker County Board of Commissioners with that idea. It cost 2 commissioners their seat on that Board of Commission, in my opinion. And I don't think certainly anybody in the community at large wants $1 million of taxpayer money going to this project. There's already been quite a bit. I think the city of Detroit Lakes has been very supportive. But let's face it, the people that are in the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Group are some of the most well-to-do business people in town. Very, very well connected. I can't help but feel that they're using their force and their influence on the city council in order to squeeze another $500,000 out of them. And some of the ideas of how this money could be paid back. It would be more like a loan to borrow. It could be used from like the food and beverage tax you and I pay here in Detroit Lakes. Why the heck would any of the food and beverage tax money be used to pay for a parking lot not in the city limits? Remember, that's outside of the city limits. And one of the 4 things was parking improvements for downtown Detroit Lakes, or at least for parking improvements within the city limits. Frankly, this screams of being greedy to me right now. This is a great project. I'm all for it. But what made it special is the fact that it was private funding. When you start saying 1/8 of it's got to come from the taxpayers of Detroit Lakes, I begin to get hesitant. Because if you want this much money now, what are you going to ask down the road? And if this thing is such a great money-making event, it's going to cash flow itself, bring so much economic opportunity, why can't you wait a couple years and save up for a capital improvements project and make it number one, the parking lot, or why wasn't it thought of in the first place? I think Detroit Lake City Council has been extremely supportive of this, and whether or not they give them another $500,000 doesn't make a difference on their support. This sounds like somebody either planned poorly or has gotten greedy. You choose which one you think it is.